Your answers are somewhat ambiguous to these questions.
The challenge.
Can you give us some assurance that, does the public know anything? You say you want to be open and transparent.
I can assure you that the public, and nor me, nor Gordon Campbell, knows everything here. I do not know everything. And the frustration I have, Mike, one of your jobs is to speculate. Have a good time speculating.
I want you to tell us what you know.
I told you what I know.
I am accepting and acting on the Evaluation Committee's recommendation to terminate the request for proposals for the Port subdivision until further notice. The government reserves the right to retender the Port subdivision at a future date. Terminating the Port subdivision request for proposal will not have a financial impact on government. Again, I would like to reiterate that the restructuring of the Port subdivision is an entirely separate initiative and has no bearing on the $1 billion BC Rail CN investment partnership.
Mike, one of your jobs is to speculate. Have a good time speculating.
I want you to tell us what you know.
I told you what I know.
The reasons that this trial has been delayed is because the Crown hopes to hear from a secret witness, someone who would testify with only the judge and the prosecution in the courtroom, not the defense, not even the defense lawyers. The Special Prosecutor, Bill Bardino, is appealing a ruling by Justice Elizabeth Bennett that said the lawyers for the defense at least could be in the room for the testimony. And yet, we can't speculate who that secret witness might be. In fact, I killed a 24 Hours column doing just that on legal advice. Again, one of the stranger twists in a very strange case. One of the key concerns in the BC Legislature case is how the government handles disclosure of confidential government documents. It originally asserted both cabinet and solicitor-client privilege over a number of documents. Cabinet privilege has now been waived, but solicitor-client privilege has not, on as many as 100 documents related to the sale of BC Rail. If these documents are not disclosed, the defense may have a strong case to suggest that the government is avoiding giving them evidence that would actually lead to the exoneration of the accused. On the other hand, it could be extremely embarrassing for the government to release BC Rail sale details that might put the government in a bad light. Ultimately, Justice Bennett will have to decide, but it could be appealed to a higher level of court.
This case is how long it took the Crown to make disclosure. Issues around solicitor-client privilege, cabinet confidentiality, parliamentary privilege. The fact is the judge, Justice Bennett in this case, had to make an unprecedented, all-encompassing order that shouldn't have been necessary.
Your answers are somewhat ambiguous to these questions.
The challenge.
Can you give us some assurance that, does the public know anything? You say you want to be open and transparent.
I can assure you that the public, and nor me, nor Gordon Campbell, knows everything here. I do not know everything. And the frustration I have, Mike, one of your jobs is to speculate. Have a good time speculating.
I want you to tell us what you know.
I told you what I know.
We don't have complete disclosure of the Villa de Lupo investigation. It's very, very clear from the police reports we do have that were referred to in court this morning that the police viewed that Villa de Lupo meeting as critical. They undertook that massive surveillance in order to document whether Bassey was telling the truth when he said that Minister Collins would meet with Omnitrax to discuss a consolation prize.
Bell, the Premier's Deputy Minister, and his alter ego viewed and discussed critical documents in the BC Rail corruption trial investigation. This despite the fact that he was not authorized to do so under a protocol approved by the BC Supreme Court. On May 28, 2007, the Premier in this House said, "The Premier's office won't be checked with on this." After talking at length last year, the Premier is now suddenly reluctant to explain this contradiction. Can the Attorney General advise, was the Premier wrong to discuss this matter here in this House last year?
Member as supplemental. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. My question then again to the Attorney General is, does he think it's appropriate for the Premier to comment in this House on that issue? And does he think it's appropriate then for Mr. Dobell to make comments on this matter outside this House, given his repeated statements in this House?
Attorney, thank you, Honourable Speaker. What is really inappropriate here is an opposition that has absolutely no respect for the courts. None.